Okay, 18.5, we have two terms, angle of elevation and angle of depression. So we just need to understand what these angles are so that when we come to our story problems here, we know how to set them up and know which angle we're talking about. All right, so an angle of elevation is this. So let's say someone is standing, and if they're looking, if they look straight across, would be maybe like the horizontal line of sight. And then from there, if they look up, it creates an angle right here called an angle of elevation. Okay? So from like the ground up to something, or your line of sight up to something, that's an angle of elevation. So angle of depression is as if you were at the top now of this triangle, okay? And let's say your line of sight goes straight, and then you look down to something, that's an angle of depression. Now what we do is now let's say the ground or the water, this horizontal distance here, compared to your horizontal line of sight, that creates parallel lines. So what that means then is this angle down here is the same as this angle up here, alternate interior angles. So that's the angle we're going to use when we're talking angle of depression, because it creates this triangle here, and we need an angle inside the triangle. Up here with angle of elevation, the angle created is already inside the triangle, so we'll use that one. Okay, so now to our questions, our examples here. So example 1 says the angle of elevation from a kicker's foot to the from a kicker's foot on the football field to the top of a goalpost is 17 degrees. So kicker's foot, let's say this is the ground, and we'll say this is the goalpost, the top. So it creates a right triangle. So from the kicker's foot up is this 17-degree angle of elevation. Then it says he is standing 131 feet from the base of the goalpost. So that means this distance would be 131 feet. Creates a right triangle. So we want to solve how tall is the goalpost. So we want to solve for the distance from the ground to the top of the goalpost. So we set up our trig ratio. Here's the angle, side opposite, side adjacent. So that's tangent. So tangent of 17 is going to equal the side opposite over adjacent. And then I cross multiply. So x times 1 is x. Tangent of 17, that multiplied by 131, that's going to give you tangent of 17 times 131 on my calculator, I get 40.1. So x is going to equal 40.1 feet is what we're using. So that's this distance right here. Okay? Example 2. So it says, at a point 125 feet from the base of a building, so that would be this side, 125 feet. The angle of elevation to the third floor is 22 degrees. So that's just 22 degrees right here. There's the third floor. So here's one right triangle. And then it says to the 10th floor, so all the way up from the bottom to this angle will be 53 degrees. Not this one in here, but the two together is 53 degrees. So that's this bigger right triangle. So here's the bigger right triangle and the smaller right triangle. Okay, 125, this is a 53, and this is a 22. So it says, how much higher is the 10th floor than the third floor? So if we label this one up here X, and this one down here Y, okay, then we need to know, okay, the two together, and if I subtract Y from the two together, would leave me that distance. So on the bigger triangle, this is both of them together, And the smaller triangle, that's just this one. So I need to work at two triangles and then subtract them. So let's see, from this one, so we'll separate them here. So this would be opposite and adjacent, that's tangent. So tangent of 53 is going to equal the two together over 125. So the two together are going to equal the tangent of 53 times 125. So do that on your calculator, and you should get 165.88. Okay, so that's the two together. Now if I can subtract the y, then that will leave me just this, or leave me how much higher it is. So I'm going to come over to the smaller triangle now and do the same thing. It's opposite over adjacent, so tangent of 22 is going to equal y over 125. So y is going to equal tangent of 22 times 125, which comes out to be 50.5. So now if I subtract them, I'll take 165.88 minus the 50.5 and subtract them. I get 115.38. That's the difference. And I guess it's feet. Add that in. That's the difference between the two. Okay, examples 3 and 4, using angles of depression. So in example 3, it says, a person at the top of a cliff, 100 feet tall, sees Gilligan's boat. So here's the cliff. Here's the boat. Gilligan, the G-man. And let's make a right triangle. So the cliff is 100 feet tall. Okay, he's standing at the top here and looks down. His siding of the boat is at an angle of depression of 10 degrees. Okay, so there's the angle of depression. So that means we use this one down here. Okay, we're going to use that angle. Because from before, how we said there, those are the same. Okay, so now we need to find how far is the boat from the bottom of the cliff. So we want to find this length right here. So we'll just call that x, I guess. Okay. So from this angle, we have opposite, and we're looking for adjacent. So that's tangent. So we'll say tangent, angle is 10 degrees, side opposite over adjacent. Now we cross multiply. So x times the tangent of 10 is going to equal 100. And we have to divide by the tangent of 10. So x is going to equal 100 divided by the tangent of 10, and that comes out to be, make sure you get this, 567.13 feet. Okay, that is that length right there. 567.13. Okay, now for number 9, or sorry, not number 9, example 4, page 9. Let's see what we have here. While standing on top of a hill at a ski resort. So here's the hill. I'm assuming we're going to make a right triangle, so I'm just going to draw it. Here's the hill. Standing on top of a hill at a ski resort, Lisa spots the ski lodge. Okay. If the vertical height of the hill is 1,209 feet. Okay, that's the vertical height. Angle of depression, so I'm going to kind of say, okay, angle of depression, so from there to there is 53 degrees. So that means this angle down here is 53 degrees. Okay, so we've got the angle. So we're going to use that angle. What distance must Lisa ski in order to reach the lodge? So from the top of the hill to the lodge, she's going to ski this distance right here, the hypotenuse. So let's set it up. Here's the angle. We have opposite and we have hypotenuse. So that is sine. So we'll say sine of 53 is the side opposite over the hypotenuse. So let's see. X times the sine of 53 equals 1209. So now we divide. 1209 divided by the sine of 53. So x is going to equal 1209 divided by the sine of 53 is 1513.83 feet. Okay. So now, page 10, I think, is the last page of this packet and your assignment. Have fun.